I don't know if that just turned on. I am back today with episode 2 about anxiety. Um, hey guys, I am back today with episode 2 all about what is anxiety and what can we do about it. Before I get into that though, I just have to share. I just took a 2.5 hour breathwork class with Bree Melanson, who, if you don't know her, you should totally look her up. She's amazing. So I am pretty like in an altered state right now, which may be a good thing, maybe not. But I just have to share. I am a little bit maybe moving a little bit slower, but in a good way because I feel super connected and it was really just such a beautiful experience. And it's a different type of breath work than I teach. So it was really great to just be in that energy and experience the breath work. And it was super powerful. Um, One of the major insights that I got, which I'll share, which I feel like this is kind of a common thing that I see happen in breath work with people too. So as I'm breathing and I'm starting to like feel into my body, I notice that in the last few days, I've been having a lot of pain in my body, especially in my legs, hips, shoulders, all this stuff. And I thought maybe it was just from like doing too much Peloton or something. Don't make fun of me for doing the Peloton. But as I'm breathing and I started to like tap into my own body and kind of like receive messages of what the pain is from, the message that I received was that the pain is all of the places within myself that I'm not practicing self acceptance. So that was like a really, really powerful message. I know that we hear like, oh, self acceptance, like accept yourself, but like, what does that truly mean or truly look like in practice? And I think it's something that's constantly unfolding, and it's something that we constantly have to change our relationship to. Um, and as we grow, we start to uncover places within us that we are rejecting or um, not fully accepting. And that's kind of where that shadow comes in that I was talking about before, of the places that we're kind of, that we don't want to look at within ourselves, that we're kind of rejecting. And how do we bring that out into the light, right? Which is one of the things that I feel really strongly that we're all being called to do right now. So that kind of ties in with what I wanted to talk about today, which is anxiety. And just to back up a little bit, I think in the first episode, I should have gone into just talking a little bit about who I am and what I do. For those of you that don't know, I've been practicing breath work for about 20 years. I discovered breath work when I was 19 years old, which was kind of crazy now that I think back on it, because I was like a child and I was really interested in growth and anything where you were looking at why you do the things you do, or why things happen, or why people act a certain way. So I had always been interested in that. And I started working at a yoga studio, Yoga on Main. And I discovered breath work and I started doing it. And then I started going to all the trainings. I think I spent 4 years going to every single training that they had to offer. Became a teacher, taught classes, had clients, and all of that. Then went on to become a school counselor. And this year, I've created a meditation program for children, which I'm implementing, and now working to implement in other schools as well. So that's really cool. Um, And now just working to help clients heal through breath work. And in the last year, I've began to discover my psychic abilities. Just am finishing now this class called Psychic Boot Camp with Bree, who I mentioned, who I just did the breath work with, which was really amazing. And now I've begun to, I mean, I've always known I've had psychic abilities, but now I have taken them and, hi, Jocelyn, thank you. But now I have taken that wisdom and started to bring it into my work with breathwork clients. So now I've really, I think I was kind of doing it before, but now I've really started to hone the skill. So while people are breathing, I'm able to tap into their energy and see where they're stuck and guide them to release it through the breath. And then I can also do that without breath work too. So just being able to tap into someone's energy as I'm talking to them, and I can kind of see, I get messages about where they're stuck, especially around relationships or career. Those are kind of the two things I always like tap right into. So yeah, I'm able to help people in those areas a lot and just tap into their energy. So that is what I do. So now just to get back to the topic of anxiety, and I wanted to talk about this because I think it's so common and I see it so much with everyone. I mean, I think everyone deals with anxiety in some way. And it doesn't have to be this thing where it's like, oh my God, I have anxiety. And it's just like this thing that you have, right? I think from a spiritual perspective and from a counseling perspective, anytime there's an emotion or a behavior, it's there to send us a message, right? It's not like, oh, I have this thing and now I have to figure out how to make it go away, or I have to figure out how to stop this behavior. It's more like, okay, what is this emotion, this feeling, this behavior? What is the message it's trying to tell me? And how can I receive that message and then act accordingly, right? So that is the way that I view anxiety. Is it's a message, right? It's a message from your body, from your entire being, your emotional being, that there's something there that needs to be felt, right? There's feelings that maybe you haven't felt that need to be felt. There's things going on that you haven't dealt with that need to be dealt with, right? So it's kind of like it's a way of getting your attention. So a really good example of this, which most people could probably relate to, is when something happens in your childhood, right? Like say your parents fought all the time, or there was some kind of like abuse going on or violence or something in your household. When you were a young child and you saw this going on, it was too overwhelming for you to really process what was happening, right? It was too hard for you to actually look at what was going on and feel it. So what you most likely would have done is you disassociate from those feelings. It could also be called like numbing out. Like you're just like, okay, that's too much for me. I can't feel it. And you kind of separate yourself from the experience. So you kind of disassociate from the experience. And then what ends up happening is that experience lives within you energetically. So if you watched my video yesterday, I was talking about how all emotions or events or anything in our life, it holds a chemical signature in our cells. So it's kind of the same idea. So that experience that you disassociated from, it's still living in your body because you didn't allow yourself to feel it so that you could integrate it and it could dissipate. So you're holding it in your body, right? And once we begin to disassociate from things multiple times, and once we get into the habit of not allowing ourselves to feel these feelings, they start presenting themselves in other ways, right? And one of the most common ways that they present themselves is anxiety. So anxiety, and if you think about what anxiety actually feels like, right? It's uncomfortable. It's nervousness. It's this feeling of like, because it's these feelings that are trying to bubble up to the surface saying, hey, I'm here. You need to feel me, because that's what feelings want. They want you to feel them so that they can dissipate. So that's really what anxiety is it's just feelings trying to get your attention so that you can allow yourself to feel them. So basically that is what anxiety is, or my interpretation of it. And then what can we do about it, right? Because that was the other part of this episode, is how you can finally deal with it. And breath work is one of the greatest ways to deal with anxiety. And I will tell you why. Because when you're laying down to breathe, you are opening yourself up and giving yourself the chance to feel all of those feelings that are lying underneath the surface that you haven't allowed yourself to experience, right? So you're literally saying, okay, here I am. I'm sitting here, I'm breathing in and out, I'm staying present, I'm ready to deal with all of that stuff that's lying underneath the surface that I was scared to deal with. So what happens is you begin to breathe, you're present with yourself, you're present with your body, and these feelings begin to bubble up and come to the surface. And that's why in a breathwork session, I'll always tell you, just continue to relax into whatever you're feeling. Because if you tense up and you resist the feeling, you're not going to allow yourself to feel it and it won't dissipate. So there's a saying that's really common it says, what you resist persists. So the more you resist something, the more you don't allow yourself to feel it, the more it's going to like bang on the door and be like, hey, here I am, you got to feel me. And if you don't feel it, it'll just continue to get worse and worse and worse. And then anxiety can turn into physical pain. It can turn into disease, right? Any kind of sickness is a physical manifestation of something that's off within not only your physical body, but your emotional body, your entire being. So when you lay down to breathe, you're opening yourself up, you're giving yourself the opportunity to feel these feelings that are lying dormant underneath the surface, waiting to be felt, right? And so once you do this, and once you allow yourself to do this on, a consistent basis for a little while, you allow yourself to feel those feelings, integrate the feelings so that they can dissipate. And what happens to your anxiety? It begins to dissipate because you're no longer stuffing those feelings down. You're no longer just letting them lie beneath the surface so that they have to continue getting your attention, right? You're allowing yourself to feel them. You're giving them space. And then once they're there, you feel them. It could be uncomfortable, right? You could have memories come up. You could remember things that happened from childhood that were painful, but you allow yourself to feel it. And once you do that, the power gets taken away, right? Once you feel those feelings and you face them, they're no longer holding power over you because you felt it, you integrated it, you were present with it. Right? So the only reason it holds power over you is because you're not willing to look at it. You're not willing to feel it. Right? So that's basically what anxiety is, and how breath work is really one of the best ways to deal with anxiety. Because when it comes to anxiety, just talking about it doesn't really help, right? Because it's this energy. It's this energy that's like bubbling up, right? It's bubbling up to the surface, and it's, like I said, it's trying to get your attention. So just talking about it all the time is not always going to fix the problem, because yeah, you can talk about what happened or you can talk about how you feel, but a lot of times that energy is still there. You're not allowing yourself to really feel the feelings and have that experience of those feelings. And that's what the breath work will allow you to do. So yes, that's my take on anxiety. And I would love to talk to you more about this, especially if you're someone who really struggles with anxiety, which I know a lot of people do. I know for me, I struggle with anxiety a lot when I was younger. when I was 19, at the time that I found breath work, I was struggling with anxiety, with an eating disorder, and I just didn't know how to handle my feelings, right? And I think a lot of people don't know how to handle their feelings. This is something that should be taught in school, although it's not really. That's why I created the meditation program, but that's another episode. But anyway, anxiety is something that we all experience because we're not sure exactly what to do with our feelings. So when I was younger, I had a lot of anxiety, and breath work really healed me. So I want to invite you to talk to me, because we can get on a call and I can show you how to change that anxiety to much more ease, much more confidence, much more joy in your life. So reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to put a link below to schedule your free breakthrough consultation with me, where we will literally talk about your anxiety and give you grounded action steps to move it into more ease and more confidence. So thank you. Tomorrow is going to be episode 3, where we delve into creating exactly the life that you desire. So tune in tomorrow for part 3 of my weekend of wisdom, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Bye.